Grave Reviews, this is Chris.
Have you checked the children?
There's no children here. It's not safe for them.
This is Alan, and Chris is right. Grave Reviews is intended for mature audiences. Your discretion is advised. Grave Reviews presents Thursday Night Frights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thursday Night Frights. Grave Reviews presents Willy's Wonderland. How's everyone doing tonight?
Willy's Wonderland. Doing great. How are you doing, Alan?
I'm doing real well. I'm things have been rough at work. And Mar and I talked about, just trying to run away, but unfortunately we can't. So this is my chance to just relax a little and blow off some steam for the week. And I know that this is something that you and I have talked about that we both look forward to. So yeah, I hear that you had a really fun time here recently. Where did you and the better half go, and what did you guys do?
Yeah, we went down to Lehighton, Pennsylvania. There is a haunted house down there. It's open for, October, Halloween. It's also the filming location for Hell House series, which
Cool.
at some point you got to watch. We'll probably review at least one of them or something, I think.
Sure, we'll get around to it at some point.
Yeah, but the place is actually haunted, and we went on tour with the Haunted Mafia, Paranormal Gangsters. That was headed up by Alan and Larissa. There was Ducky and the crew there. They were awesome. They kind of led us around, did some video, gave us some equipment to check with. And we were met there by the Blue Bodie, psychic medium. And she gave us a reading, and then she walked through the house and, got in touch with the spirits of the house. It was fun. We were out there late in the dark, in the freezing cold. And there were points where it was like, let's go outside for a quick break because it's warmer out there. There was some
That's
really creepy feelings in this house, but got to see members of the Hell House, Hector playing the piano, the big, zombie dummy that they have, the clowns in the basement. Very cool stuff.
Sounds really neat. That sounds really neat. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. That sounds like fun. I know that this weekend, not this coming, but the following, the wife and I are going to take a short trip, spend some time with grandson and do some fun stuff. And that's going to be something for us to look forward to as well. So,
Sweet.
so tell me, we haven't talked a whole lot. This week we decided, as week number 2 of our Nick Cage march through the Cage movies, that we were going to talk about Willy's Wonderland, which I have said, if you take Five Nights at Freddy's and you put in a pinch of Chuck E. Cheese and stir in some magic that is Nick Cage, you get Willy's Wonderland. What did you think of this movie?
Same. I'll tell you what. Bold move to go with our hero Nick Cage, rolling into town, rolling through this movie, and never saying a word.
Not a word.
Not a word other than some great stuff. It had that air of like the Pale Rider, the Clint Eastwood's rolling into town and taking out the trash, even though they're animatronic, devil, Satan infused, crazy people. Riding on out of town with the old girl. So this was the Five Nights at Freddy's we probably should have gotten.
Yeah, I think that the only other person who I think could have played this movie this way would have probably been Keanu Reeves. With his mouth shut, not saying a word, and just but no one could have sold it the way Nick Cage did.
No one could have pulled off the pinball dance.
Oh my God,
that we got. That was just. There are so many Easter eggs in this movie of other horror movies, other pop culture type things. It was. I mean, this guy kicked so much ass in this movie. He even took a break in the middle of kicking ass and then came back to kick some more ass.
We'll get to that, but it is so
Yeah,
funny how he is with his breaks. So
yeah.
so let's dive in. All right. So basically, what we've got here is at the beginning of the movie, Nick's driving. He's got his Camaro. He's going, and he has a breakdown
Yeah.
where all four tires bust.
Ooh,
And we get introduced to two main characters here. We get introduced to Nick Cage, and we get introduced to Punch Soda, um,
yeah.
which plays a huge part to this whole somehow, but it does. And also it sets the tone here because when he gets out of the car, all four tires are blown because someone stole the spike strips. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when he gets out and he stands there in the road, they show the shot of the sun sweeping over him, the shadow moving,
Yeah.
and he doesn't move a muscle through the whole thing. And it cracked. I was just sitting there going, okay, I know where this movie's taking us at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
stoic. There's a lot of those moments that you get the tall cinematography you'd see with the hero off in the distance coming in, the showdown. Um, I love the lighting because they use that through the whole movie. Like
yes,
he is the guy that's with the light behind him and he's just
and,
not moving. I'm just Nick Cage in this up.
and they kind of use that kind of reference to show passing of time, even though you never really know what time it is through the whole movie.
Mm,
Uh, it's at night was when most of it takes place, but he's picked up by a local mechanic,
mm,
Jed Love, who takes him to Willy's Wonderland. And the reason he does that is he says, "Hey, listen, if you can't pay us in cash because we don't take credit,
mhm.
there's no internet, whatever." There's a way, nudge, nudge. You can work it off, nudge, nudge. Say no more. Know what I mean? You
Right.
and he's not
Say
talking
no
about
more.
say no. He's not talking about the kind of pictures you take on holiday.
Right.
He's like, you can work this off at the Family Entertainment Center, that is inhabited with eight now withered animatronic masks.
Animatronics, yeah. And it's this whole like it's $1,000 worth of work to be done on his car, and he's like, "You just got to clean this place really good, and we'll have it for you in the morning." And he cleans the hell out of this
Oh,
place
yeah, he does.
like 10 times. Some of the places he had to clean like 6, 7 times.
It's funny, this is where we kind of get introduced kind of to our animatronics. We've got Willy the Weasel.
Mm,
I love their names. Artie the alligator, Hammy the chameleon,
yep.
Oz the ostrich.
Tito the turtle, man.
I love this. Mighty Knight, Gus the gorilla,
Yep.
and the best of them all, in my personal opinion, was Siren Sarah. Uh,
Siren Sarah.
and we also get to meet the restaurant's owner, which is Mr. Tex McAdoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
Good
Oh,
old Tex.
good old Tex. Um, he offers him the job to work for the janitor at the night, as we talked about, exchanging the repairs for his vehicle. And Jed leaves him, but they lock him inside. They chain him in.
Yeah, he's chained into the place. He's Five Nights at Freddy's. Everything's in lockdown. You
Yep.
have your job, like you're to start cleaning, and Nick Cage he's all about that's what I'm gonna do, and
It,
he's
it,
got his brand new shirt on, that they gave him, which is a great thing through the movie.
I want one of those shirts so
Yeah, I
bad.
went on T Public and I'm like, oh, yeah, of course they have him on here.
Of
Cool.
course, of course.
Yeah.
um, yeah, the whole T-shirt exchange is great. And again, so as this is going on the other side of town, our second hero, Liv Hawthorne,
Live. Yep.
uh, who has just attempted arson on the same place that Nick Cage's character, who's by the way is just the janitor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call him the janitor all night, guys. I'll just keep calling him Nick Cage because let's face it, that's who he is.
Right.
I honestly believe he's playing himself through most of this movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, they, she gets picked up for trying to burn the place to the ground, right?
Mhm.
And you come to find out the sheriff, Miss Eloise Lund, is her stepmother.
Yeah.
No, no, adopted mother, right?
Adopted mother. Yeah, guardian.
Her guardian, right?
Yep.
And they deliver one of the best lines in the movie. She throws her in and locks her down. And she's like, "What do I do if I'm hungry? What if I have to go to the bathroom?" Because she's got her at this point in time chained to the wall with a
Right.
pair of handcuffs. She goes, "Well,
Yep.
there's a bucket and there's some snacks on the counter."
Some
So,
snacks.
and she's like, "I hate you." And he goes, "I love you too,
I
sweetie."
love you too.
And that's one of the best lines of the whole
Yeah,
movie.
you get that feeling like the sheriff is just trying to do right by this girl, and the girl's a rebel, and that's the way you feel. Of course, Tex is, he's the shady business guy of the town, and
Right.
he's connected to the town mechanic, who's usually the muscle or something, and she's the just trying to do good sheriff. That's what
And,
we're
and
presented.
and we really don't know what's going on. Why is she trying to burn the building down? Why is the sheriff locking her up and keeping her locked up all night?
Hmm.
We're actually thinking that maybe that she's the problem
Right.
until we get to the next important scene, which is when um, we find out that our animatronics are sentient and
Yes.
just a little homicidal.
Homicidal sentient animatronics.
So Ozzy attacks our good friend Nick Cage and is proceeded to be beaten to death with a mop. I'm going to tell you that from this moment on, the rest of this movie, other than maybe a 5-minute section, this movie is balls to the wall fun.
Yeah.
When he pulls the spinal column out of Ozzy, and it's because that's what it's meant to look like. So
Yeah,
that's
it's the Predator moment.
but it's a wiring harness, and the only blood you see is actually oil.
Oil.
It's so gory looking, and it's all oil because he's beating up these animatronics. I was like, "This is awesome."
This is great. When it's like I forget what she says, what Ozzy says to him. Um,
I'm
but
gonna
then like attacks him and hits him in the face and he gets cut on the cheek. And it's like that whole go time where the hat comes around or something because he
he
was like,
literally
"Oh
goes,
no, it's on." And before you know it,
and again, doesn't say a word.
no, just silently beats the ever loving crap out of this poor ostrich thing.
So
But it tried to kill him.
it did.
So
So Liv and her friends, her friends show up. They break her loose, and they're going to finish what they started and go and destroy the Willies and end this curse. That again, we're still not sure what's going on with that.
right.
It's funny. They're all like, "Oh, we're going to have fun," and she's like, "No, you have to take this so serious." And I'm
Right.
like, God, they could have found another actress, but no,
Yeah.
no, but that's okay. That's okay. The
It's fine.
people in this are fodder for the animatronics. Let's
Mhm.
say it that way. And then we get the best cleaning of a restroom scene I've ever seen. How is it that we have times where there's like 4 or 5 minutes of Nick Cage wiping down walls in a bathroom that were in it?
Yeah, detailing it with, like, toothbrushes coming in and, he's getting and you're like, "Damn, this dude is, like, taking this seriously. He's giving them the $1,000 job cleaning the place."
And then he hears this voice, right?
Mm.
And he goes over and he kicks the door open, and then he goes through, and then the gorilla comes out, and they have this huge fight with him and this gorilla.
It's so fun. It's really fun, and then, like, you don't think it can get any crazier, and he
Yes.
curb stomps the gorilla into the urinal.
Which is
I'm like, "What?"
literal I literally when he put his face right on the urinal and curb, so I was simultaneously cheering and laughing at the same
Yeah,
time.
this is nuts. This is crazy. This is
Oh,
awesome. And again, he doesn't say a word. He just beats the ever loving crap. Like the gorilla gets a shot or two in, and then it's like,
yep,
because he's all duct taped up. He's got that little piece of duct tape over top of the scratch on his cheek.
most of the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Uh, and the fact that when it's done, he drags the thing out to throw it in the garbage, right? He bags him up, walks over to the front, but the front door won't open, and he just, without saying a word, doesn't even just like sets it down and walks off, changes his shirt.
Yep. gets cleaned up, cleans his hands really well, gets a nice clean shirt on. So now we're like on shirt number 3.
Yeah, and he goes back. He goes back and he re-cleans the bathroom. Oh
Yeah,
god, it's so funny.
because it's funny because that's what kind of goes through this whole movie of this whole. I mean, he cleans this place up to
I
the
don't know.
point of like it's going to be open.
I will say that while there are plenty of human fodder for the animatronics, the animatronic kills are much better.
Yeah,
Than
they're fun.
oh,
They're
so so
it's a battle against a mascot.
so at this point, Liv and her friends, they wind up getting into the restaurant. She goes into a vent. A little bit later, her friends fall through the
They
roof.
fall through the roof into the ball pit.
Yep. And then we we get Liv explaining to the janitor about the restaurant's originally owned notorious serial killer, or instead of explained, we could say that she performs an excellent expedition dump that takes about 5 minutes for her to go through this huge history on why it is that they're 7 cannibals, they're all
Right.
colleagues.
They were all in a satanic cult and then they wanted to achieve immortality. So
Yeah,
they're in the animatronics now and he's just like taking it all in.
yeah, and again, doesn't say a word. And as soon as his watch beeps, it's break time, and I don't care what's going on. He goes, he grabs a soda, he drinks it, he gets he's either cleaning the pinball machine or he's playing the pinball machine, and
Yeah.
and they can be like the room falling in around him. He is taking his break.
Yeah. And it goes towards like all of these horror video games. He's drinking the punch of cola.
Yep,
It's like a power up. What is it? A smack to your kisser.
back to your case. Yes,
A taste of caffeine to your kisser. Um, yeah, and he drinks them. It's a power up. He's doing the cleaning. It's like the mini games you kind of have to do in to pass time in other games. And
and every time he takes one, like you said, it's his power up.
yeah,
So as soon as she gets done, the rest of the animatronics start to come to life. Nighty Night, who is an animatronic of a night, actually fatally impales one of the friends, Aaron, with his sword.
hmm
Dan is eaten alive by Tito and which is the turtle and Siren Sarah. And Artie the alligator mauls Kathy and Bob to death in the party room for the movie's only fully clothed sex scene.
yeah. Interesting because we got a shot when they were going up on the roof, like the gratuitous, butt shot going up on the roof. But then he's like, I want to see you in your birthday suit. And then she just takes her shirt off and she's
Uh-huh.
still wearing everything else.
It reminded me of the scene in Thanksgiving when the turkey was having sex
Yes.
with the girl who was still wearing her pants. And
Yeah.
take on this one. And I was rolling. And the fact she stops and goes, well, that alligator wasn't there a few minutes ago. He's like, oh, baby, you're just nervous. Come on, let's get,
Yeah, he's been there the whole time. He's been in every room. Meanwhile, you've got like when the which is funny because we've got like the love interest, the nerdy guy that really wants the girl live.
Yeah.
You could tell that, which usually doesn't die first
Okay.
as far as horror tropes go. And he's taken right out. So they all know the animatronics are alive and crazy. And there's an alligator one watching you get it on in the special room.
Excuse me.
And you say, yeah, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Until he moves.
Yeah, and then our janitor, who's done with his break, comes back and sees that Nighty Night is getting ready to kill Liv, and
Mhm.
he attacks Nighty Night and takes his sword, takes his head off with the sword. Again,
Yep.
gratuitous oil, blood, whatever.
Yeah.
And he has to go change his shirt again. I love the fact that when the animatronics had killed Blood's oil is
Yeah.
everywhere. there.
Right.
When the people get killed, you might see a spray of blood, and that's pretty much the size of
Yeah. You don't really see much of the blood until the end.
until the sheriff gets it. But
Right, exactly. But and there's great. I love this is like a really good hit when he comes into the special room and finds that the alligator has eaten the two friends on the ground over there. It's this Godzilla moment, King Kong moment where Kong grabs the dinosaur and splits his jaw apart. I'm the whole time that's rushing through my head. Oh, it's Kong.
absolutely,
It's
yeah,
Kong. Like just
yeah.
and he does. And then reaches in and pulls out, a part of him.
Whatever it is, they happens to pull out exactly.
All we get is just Nick Cage like
Well, the only thing that Nick Cage ever does in the whole thing is every single time he opens his punch cola, he takes a drink and goes, "That's
Yeah.
it.
That's
That's
it. And he
it."
needs it. And and in the meantime, like he's slowly cleaning this pinball machine.
Uh-huh.
And like until it's just immaculate. I love the part where and that's where he goes on his break. And he's doing this little bebopping along in between killing animatronics and cleaning the hell out of this place that's sat here for 20 years.
Oh my god, it's so great. That dance.
So, oh yeah, yeah. And meanwhile, it's Imoy does the music for this, and the entire score through the movie really throws this right along. You're you're in on the action scenes. You're in on the spooky, the things that right around the corner scenes. But then right into nostalgia like 80s because we're gonna just do like um, a flash dance right here
Yep.
in front of the pinball machine. So
So
uh,
right
perfect.
right before the chameleon
Oh
takes
yeah,
right? He makes a phone call, and I love this. He makes a phone call to the sheriff, like calls 911. The sheriff answers, and and she's sitting there talking to a state trooper who's across from her,
right.
and and she's like, "Oh, yep, yep," click, and hangs up on him. And she's
Right.
like, and the state trooper's like, "Well, who's that?" He goes, fake call."
Yeah.
Great call. And then it immediately rings, and she picks up like, "What do you want?" That's when she finds out that Liv is there, and
Right.
she gets up, grabs her shotgun. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
'Cause let's face it, that's the only reason was to keep Liv alive anyway. So,
Right.
um,
And then you get this backstory of a little bit.
backstory, or as we like to call it, the dump number 2.
Dump number two, a little exposition here where the sheriff decides to lay down what's really happening. And it's cannibalistic calls and they did this and they came back to life, but because they killed everybody in town, we were like, hey, if we bring you people, leave everybody in town. And apparently the giant weasel said that's cool.
Yeah.
And we're getting a background of cars breaking down. It'll cost this much to fix. And we send you here, and the cannibalistic, satanic
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I love that there's a comic book to check this stuff out to see where their origins are. I love it.
I love the fact that Tex all of a sudden goes, "Oh, I get it. I'm the new guy." Trying to punk me and all this stuff. I was like, "Oh my god, it's so funny."
Yeah, he's like, get out of here. Get out of here.
And this is where we find out that Liv's parents were among the original victims,
Hmm.
and where the sheriff kept her and raised her at that point.
Right.
So
Information dump. And it's this point where she's trying to get the girl out, to get Liv out, handcuff him. He's gonna, sorry, dude, we gotta do, and you need to die. So cuff him and put him over there and leave.
and
And
at this point in time, you pretty much think that all of the animatronics are dead, with the exception of Willy, right?
right,
And then you find out that as the sheriff, not the sheriff, I'm sorry, but the state trooper, Evan,
mhm,
leaves, Tito the turtle's hiding in the back,
yeah,
of the car. And,
this
and
giant turtle sitting in your back seat.
you don't see it until you get it. Anyway, whatever.
Hey, you deserve it at this point.
Yep.
And meanwhile, we find out that the chameleon and Siren are going to take this chance that now that Nick Cage is chained up, arms behind him, we get another dance off a little bit where he gets up and he's moving around and then proceeds to, I think, squish her head with his thighs.
Exactly. It's you see these watermelon challenges, or you used to anywhere where
Yeah.
that's what he did. He used his thighs to crush Chameleon's head. Oh my god, it's so funny. Um,
Yep.
and he basically twists it and breaks it. Uh,
Mhm.
of course, this totally just enrages the Sheriff Lund.
No,
Who's
this is the great part when he comes walking out with the bag of garbage to throw it in the dumpster, and he turns around and turns back and looks at her, and she's just like, "What the?"
what the fuck?
And he goes back inside. Not only does he go back inside, goes back inside, gets cleaned up, changes his shirt, cleans up the entire mess, brings all the bodies out. We're all set here. And
And so she tries to lure Willie out to take the janitor Nick Cage
yeah,
out, right?
mhm,
We're not with him. This is all him. Blah 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 blah. And how does
yeah,
she get paid for that?
yeah.
Willie the Weasel rips her most graphic kill, rips her in two.
Oh yeah, it's the swipe, and then it's what I call the 300 blood from the
Uh,
movie, where it's just a faucet, a fountain of blood starts shooting out, and that's it gets on. It's the first time I think blood really gets on Nick Cage, and he's just
That's
like,
it's like okay, if you all saw Kill Bill, right?
mhm,
In the crazy 88 scene when she cut the guy's neck and the blood just went
yeah, out,
that's
yeah.
exactly what this scene was like. And it was so wonderfully done that you were laughing yourself
Yeah,
silly.
because she's just like got the shotgun to Cage and like, come on, Willie, come take him. We're sorry about all the other stuff. The kids kind of deserved it. And now Willie's just like, nah, girl, you're done.
Yeah. And
And
Will proceeds at this point to kind of kick our janitor's ass at this point. And he goes into the ball pit. And Willie walks off. Well, as he does, Nick Cage does the Wolverine. He comes
mhm,
out, not that dramatic, but
yeah,
uh, it's really funny. All night, his power up has been the soda cans. He grabs what is essentially a cleaning bag, fills it full of his punch soda,
right.
the mop stick that he broke earlier, tapes them together, and walks back out and is like, "Come on!" and proceeds to beat Willie to death.
Yeah, like it gets graphic.
It is horribly graphic.
It's black oil, but like he is literally caving this weasel's head in.
It is all and it is so great. It's just
So wild.
oh my god.
Um,
Ah,
meanwhile, back in the cop car, um, this is hilarious that the turtle comes out, you know, oh no, what are we to do? And he gets it. And then the turtle, Tito, wants a piece of live
uh-huh.
and makes the mistake of going for it because he's later on the ground, like, my balls. Please, por favor, no más, no
No,
más.
no, I love it. So I so so
Oh,
so our Tex, comes in. He think him and Love are going to come in and they're going to find that he's dead, right? The janitor's dead.
yep,
And
time to clean it up. That's my new car, his Camaro,
I
you know,
love he peeks through the hole and he sees how beautifully pristine the place
whole
is.
place is
He's like,
immaculate.
he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "What is it?" He's like, "It's clean."
Right.
He walks in, and again, Nick Cage doesn't say a word. He's got his jacket on, got his sunglasses. He just holds his hands out like, "Give me my
Yep, give
keys."
him my keys. And
And he walks out, and he and Liv have a moment of stare down between them. Not a word is said.
nope.
She gets in the car with this 59-year-old man. drives off into the sunset.
It's over.
You
She's
think
safe.
it's over at this point.
No. Um, because Tex and Love are, like, oh wow, we got rid of the haunted satanic cultimatronics, and I might open this place.
I almost spit my drink on this products. Someone needs to write that down.
Yeah, I don't cannibalistic cultimatronic,
I love it. I love it.
and it's a laugh. Oh yeah, we're basically going legit now. We don't have to feed these monsters. Yeah, but Siren's still there, and she had found the gas that the girls had left,
Yep.
and apparently dumped it all over the car, and lights a rag, and the whole thing blows up.
And she says, "Thanks for coming to Willy's Wonderland." And
Yep,
boom.
sacrifices herself. So you're like, okay, they're all. What about the turtle? No, that's okay, because we're driving down the road, and there's the turtle trying to walk back to the Willy's Wonderland, and we make sure our hero and heroine take him out,
Yep.
run him over. He's into the woods in pieces.
And it was almost as good as the truck scene in Zombiever.
Oh, yeah.
He gets vaporized when he gets,
Boom. That thing's toast.
yep. And then Nick reaches over, the janitor reaches over in the back, and he grabs his can, he pops it like he's going to do through the whole thing, starts to take a drink, and hands it to the girl, and she takes a drink as they're driving into the sunset. So, what a fantastic!
It's great. I say it again. This was a Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's has all been about that creep and horror kind of feel to it, and the movie was very kid like. This is not for kids.
No, no, no.
It's not a kid friendly movie. It might be mostly oil, but the violence alone,
And it's
it's
fun
epic.
because you catch yourself kind of doing one of these, and it's a big stuffed animal. It's just so well done. And the thing of it is that it knows not to take itself too seriously.
Yeah,
What makes
I read that he was very like Nick Cage because he's one of the producers. He was very secretive about the script and like keeping the script, on a close down. And honestly, this movie came out during the COVID times, and it robbed them of a box office start. Another movie that I think would have had more than a cult following had it actually made it to the movie theaters, because this was fun. This was
Yep,
Nick Cage. The aesthetic of him not talking through the whole thing
yep.
really sets it up as the tall, dark stranger that rolls into town, takes out the trash,
Very,
and then
very pale
gets the
writer.
little old lady and takes off.
Yeah, it's very pale writer, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
so much fun.
Oh,
So, all right, Chris. One being a miserable dredge that made you so angry that you watched it. 10 being a movie that transcends the annals of time. Everyone should watch it. 5 hits all the marks. Where would
yeah.
you put Willy's Wonderland?
It's hard not to go right to the 10. No, I'm just
No.
no, because this is a terrible movie, but it is a terrible movie done really right.
Yeah.
And I totally tell people that you should see this. It's a fun, if you
Yep.
like the Five Nights at Freddy thing, this is great because this is just like hyper violence when it comes to it. I love the line that's said in the movie where she's like, come on, and she's taking Liv out, and she's like, no, 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 you're not leaving him there for them. They're being left here with him.
They're locked in with him.
Oh yeah, this movie's great. It was fun for me. I'm really gonna give it a high mark and say this is an 8 movie for me. It's
Ooh,
fun. I'm a fan of Nick Cage, and the aesthetic of Nick Cage not talking through a movie and literally kicking all he has was fun.
yep.
So yeah, definitely go see this one. I give it high marks.
I'm with you. I agree with everything. Now here's my take on it. For me, while I agree with you, the Five Nights at Freddy's for adults, I agree with you on that. This is also one of those things that if you ever had to endure Chuck E. Cheese and hated that
Mm,
house, this movie will make you very happy, right?
yeah, F
Um,
that mouse. He gets his.
Do you remember Showtime Pizza?
Showtime. No, they had one, but I was little. I don't think I went there.
So Showtime was I never went there, but I remember seeing them. It was kind of like the Chuck E. Cheese's bastardized cousin kind of thing.
Ah,
And,
gotcha.
but instead of a mouse, it was a bear. And even the commercials made me go, no, I
I
don't want to
don't
go
want
there.
this.
No,
I don't want to do this.
I like this. So I will say that for me, it's not an 8 movie. I will say it's definitely a 7 out of 10. I love everything about it. The only thing that would keep me from going to 8 to 8.5, honestly, the 2 exposition dumps were so badly.
I think they were done like that on purpose, but it
Yeah.
is
Well,
all right. What's going on?
it literally what it did is it threw an anchor out in the middle of
Yeah,
the movie that made
yeah,
you have to start over.
yeah.
So I think they could have handled that. I was okay with the second one because of what was going on,
Right,
the cut scenes and so forth. But when you had everyone in the movie be a part of the first one, where they're all just standing in a circle and
right.
nothing's happening, it made it was like throwing a boat anchor out, and to me that deducted a full point. But that's just what I got to say. But you know what? That doesn't have a damn thing to do with what we need to do now, which is where are we putting this on our sometimes hysterical, intentionally tasteless list of movies, or as we like to call it, the shit list, because let's face it,
Shit list.
that's what we did.
Well, shit, we
We
did that.
yeah, we did. I'm going to say it's not a top 10 movie.
It's not a top 10 movie. I don't think it was ever really meant to be, so that's okay. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I
uh,
loved it. I don't think it's Train to Busan worthy, right? But Caleb, I actually thought Siren was awesome. I know it was mostly just a female with the head, but I like that character, the really wide mouth and the offset eyes. I thought that as far as the animatronics, I thought she was the best. That's just my opinion.
yeah. Apart from the janitor, because he's probably the best character.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I like Tito. I really loved his moment to shine where he's like, "Come on, Buta," and she's like, "Okay, pendejo," and
Yeah,
he's just next thing you know, no, no
yeah.
mas, por favor, no mas. I love that moment of that. Just her beating the crap out of him by
Yep.
hitting him in the groin area over and over and over.
I agree. I agree.
Good
I
stuff.
agree. Um, okay, we already know. I'm not even going to ask. We're going to go right here towards. Let's go right here towards It Follows. We'll place it right there. Now, where should we put this movie? Right,
All right.
because we know that we from here we can go down a couple, we can go up as much as we want to. I think that I enjoyed this movie much better than I did Black Friday. I know that a lot of people are yelling at me if you're watching this on X or you happen to be on Twitch. By the way, we're streaming on Twitch for the first time tonight.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
you're going to be yelling at me when I say this. I think it's much better than It Follows because I did not care for It Follows. What about you, Chris? Where would you think?
See, I definitely I love this movie. It was fun. So looking at the list here, I definitely say it's better to me than Happy Birthday to Me.
Okay,
We could definitely move up there.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Um, we start hitting some movies that we've kind of put in there. They're solid.
Yeah.
When we get a little further up, Cuckoo, because I mean you had Homo Cucumungus, whatever it was that was going on there. That was interesting.
um,
Um,
I'm thinking personally, I'm thinking that this is going to be somewhere around 36, 37.
yeah, I was pushing for when we get Legion, Wolf Cop, we start hitting into some movies that had some depth to them, or at
Yep.
least a little bit.
Yep.
This really didn't have any depth whatsoever. The comic book would probably be the best place to get that lore because it's fun.
The only
Um,
reason I said that is because our shit list is, to me, it's more enjoyable.
Yeah, and this was fun. So
It was a
I,
fun movie.
I'm gonna say, you know, I'm gonna say 37. Just in front of Howl.
Right in front and behind. I don't have a problem with that. Talking Dead, real quick. Do you guys have a problem with that spot? Do you think that this movie is better or worse than Krampus? Do you think we're in a good, as far as enjoyability is concerned? Where would you put it? Um,
Yeah, because
it's
we know you just want to switch the top 10 all around for us, but
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. And I would personally, put it better than 31, but that's just me.
yeah, yeah, that was but it's fun. I mean, you have Black Sheep that's up there. I really enjoyed that movie. I don't think this really hits it, but honestly, Nick Cage gives it that extra kick. To where I think we're good right around that Thanksgiving
Well,
area.
what do you say? Let's lock it
Krampus had Adam Scott, so I guess better.
in. Well, too bad. Uh, um, Caleb says, I like Willie's, Us, and Parties the best. All right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
Um, I really did enjoy this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I will also be honest with you when I say that it does wear thin after about the third watch.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's what it is you sit down, you get Nicolas Cage, all action, serious tone. I mean, the most serious Nick Cage we can see. The man had nothing to say,
so
and that was okay. His presence alone. Um,
I I loved it. And like I said, I am definitely going to be looking for that T-shirt. Um,
yeah,
and while we did say the part of the movie, the character of the movie we liked the most, I will say as far as the names are concerned, Tex McAdoo is a great name.
Tex McAdoo.
Ew.
Tex McAdoo.
Good to
Yeah.
meet you. My name's Tex McAdoo. Whatever. Whatever. All
Good
right.
times.
Good time. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. Chris, what are we watching next week while we're on our marching through Cage?
Marching through Cage. Next week, we're gonna take another newer Cage movie, and we're gonna mix it up and do
Mom and Dad?
yeah, Mom and Dad. Let's
Yeah,
check it out. It's Nick Cage. I mean, we have like 900 movies to choose from.
yeah,
There's a lot of horror in there, so let's pull that one out and we'll sit down and we'll view it. You got a week, and then next week we'll review it. So
absolutely.
join us next week for that. Till then, you can go into our bio link. It's fighting with me on my phone currently, so we can get the Twitch up there and so updated some things on there. But you can go to bio.link/graverev, and that'll give you links to all of our social media, our Insta, our Facebook, our TikTok, our X, our um, maybe we'll get a LinkedIn. No, maybe. But you can come check us out. There's also an email. If you've got suggestions, drop us a line, shoot us a DM on any of those socials. We'll find you. We love reaching out. Join us live on Thursdays. Be part of the Talking Dead. We love the Talking Dead. Thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with us and talking about this Willy's Wonderland. Until next week, we're marching with Cage. Stay cagey, friends.
Say cagey. So, someone asked in the chat, where can we watch Mom and Dad with Nick Cage? That is a free watch on Pluto TV. Highly recommend watching that one. Not the greatest Nick Cage movie I've ever seen, but it has some a wonderful premise to it. Really, can't wait to talk with Chris about this one and break it down for everybody. Watch the movie. Join us next week. As Chris said, be a member of the Talking Dead. Be sure to hit the like button, stab that subscribe if you haven't already, hold that bell so you know when we go live. And ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again, hopefully next Thursday at this time, as we always say here on Grave Reviews, stay spooky. May your nightmares be groovy. Have a great night, guys.
See you guys.